Next. His voice cracked sharp against the marble counter. I stepped forward, sliding my paycheck across with trembling fingers. "I'd like to deposit this, please. It's my first paycheck." He pinched it between his fingers, lips curling. "This?" His laugh snapped in the air. "We don't take scraps." My chest tightened. "It's valid. My boss, he signed it." "I worked for this." "You worked?" He leaned in, smirking. "Looks more like you begged." Heat flooded my face. "That's not true." His voice cut deeper. "Don't play smart. You think this amount makes you a customer?" Gasps flickered behind me. Someone whispered, "Shameful." I didn't know if they meant him or me. "Please." My voice cracked. "That's my money." His smirk stretched wider. The sound came first, ripping, sharp as bone-breaking. My paycheck tore down the middle. Then again. Paper fluttered to the floor. The crowd shifted. Shoes scraped tile. A woman muttered, "Not again." Another coughed, eyes fixed anywhere but me. I bent slowly, picking up the halves. My hands shook, so badly they rattled like dry leaves. My throat burned. "Why would you do that?" "Bank policy," he muttered with false boredom. Then louder, "Next!" No one moved. The silence pressed in, thick and suffocating. I turned, searching for a single face that would meet mine. They looked away. Down at phones, up at ceilings, anywhere but me. "You all saw what he did?" My voice cracked, raw. "You just gonna stand there?" A man in a gray coat shifted back. "Don't start trouble," he murmured without looking. "Up." Trouble. My tears burned hotter than fire. I forced myself upright. I just wanted to save my money. My whisper felt like it filled the lobby. "You people never learn," he muttered low, eyes still on me. My stomach lurched. The words landed heavier than the paper shreds in my hand. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the pieces at his smug face. Instead, I straightened my back. "You think tearing paper tears me? It doesn't." My voice shook, but it carried. "One day you'll answer for this." His laugh was small, ugly. "Sure. Keep dreaming." I clutched the ruined check, fingers digging into the edges until they cut my skin. My chest heaved, every breath jagged. I turned to the door. "She should have just left," someone hissed behind me. The glass door groaned as I pushed it open, the cold air slapping me harder than his words. Outside, I let the tears fall. The pieces of paper felt heavier than bricks. In my pocket, they'll remember me as noise, not a girl with dignity, but maybe noise is all I have left. I looked back at the glowing bank sign, fists clenched. That was the night I decided. Their comfort ends where my dignity begins, and I swore their silence would never choke me again. "I can't believe he ripped it," I muttered, slamming my fork against the plate. My younger brother laughed, a careless snort. "Maybe it was fake. You sure you didn't mess it up?" My hands clenched around the edge of the table. "Do you hear yourself? I worked 3 weeks for that check." He shrugged, chewing slow. "Still, you always exaggerate. Maybe you misunderstood." Misunderstood. My voice cracked, rising. "He tore it in my face, and everyone just stood there." Father lowered his newspaper, his sigh heavier than stone. "Keep your voice down. We don't shout about these things at the table." I leaned forward, heat burning in my chest. "You don't shout at all, Dad. That's the problem." His jaw tightened. "You think yelling changes how they see you? No, it just makes it worse." "Worse?" I whispered, fists trembling. "He already made it worse. He called me nothing. He tore my dignity in front of everyone. And you're worried about me shouting?" Father's gaze hardened. "I'm worried about survival. You don't win fighting battles you can't afford." I slammed my palms flat against the table. "So, we just survive? That's it? Pretend it didn't happen? Eat our dinner and pray they tear us apart quietly?" My brother snickered, stabbing his food. "You're being dramatic. People have real problems. My chair scraped back violently. Real problems? Having your paycheck ripped apart because of your skin isn't real enough for you? Enough. Father's voice snapped like thunder. His hands shook as he folded the newspaper. You think I don't know? You think I haven't been spat on, laughed at, turned away? The words hung heavy in the room. I swallowed, my anger slipping into hurt. So you know, and you still want me quiet? His eyes dropped to his plate. Because silence kept me alive long enough to raise you. Silence. The same silence that filled the bank. The same silence that let him smirk while he ripped my paycheck, I whispered, almost choking. Silence feels like dying to me. Father's hand froze midair, fork clattering against his plate. He didn't look up. The kitchen clock ticked too loud. My brother shifted uncomfortably, finally muttering, "She's right. Dad, maybe she is right." Father exhaled, voice low, almost pleading. "I just don't want to bury you." My throat tightened. The sting in my eyes blurred him. Then, let me live, because swallowing this, pretending this is normal, feels like a coffin already. His hands trembled against the table, but he stayed silent. I stood, chair legs screeching across the floor. My chest heaved, each breath jagged. Mom wouldn't have told me to stay quiet, I murmured. That broke him. His eyes flicked up, wet, before dropping back down. He said nothing. The silence stretched, suffocating. I stormed from the table, my voice echoing down the hallway. I won't be silent for you. Not for anyone. I need to report something. My voice wavered as I sat in the stiff chair across from the counselor's desk. Her eyebrows arched. Go on. A bank manager tore up my paycheck yesterday, right in front of everyone. He called me nothing. People watched, and nobody said a word. She tilted her head, pen tapping gently against her pad. Are you sure he meant it that way? My stomach dropped. What way could he mean tearing up my check? He mocked me. He said I didn't belong there. Well, she murmured, looking anywhere but my eyes. Sometimes people are just rude. Maybe it wasn't about race. I leaned forward, heat rising to my face. He looked me in the eye when he said, "You people never learn." What do you think that meant? She flinched slightly, then smoothed her expression. I just don't want you to jump to conclusions. Misunderstandings happen. Misunderstandings? My voice cracked. He destroyed the money I worked for, in front of strangers. They all saw. And you think I misunderstood? Her pen scratched slowly like she was buying time. It's important to remain objective. Emotional reactions can cloud how we see events. My fists clenched on my lap, nails digging into my skin. You think my reaction is the problem? Not his action? Not the silence that let him do it? She sighed, almost patronizing. I just want you to consider, maybe you're too sensitive. People in authority can come off harsh without intending harm. My chest burned. My voice rose before I could stop it. You never see me as human unless I bleed in front of you? Her pen froze. Her eyes finally met mine, startled. I swallowed, words spilling out like broken glass. If I screamed, you'd call me angry. If I stay quiet, you call me dramatic. If I cry, you call me weak. What exactly am I allowed to be? She pursed her lips. Calm, rational. That's how change happens. I laughed bitterly, the sound hollow in the small office. Calm didn't stop him from ripping my paycheck. Rational didn't stop the silence in that room. She leaned back, arms folding tightly. Look, I understand you feel hurt, but maybe it's best to move on. Dwelling can damage your future more than the incident itself. Move on. The words slammed into me harder than his smirk. My voice dropped to a whisper, ragged. Do you know what it feels like when your worth is ripped apart and everyone watches? Do you know what it feels like when your own school tells you to move on? Silence. Her eyes darted back to her papers. I stood abruptly, chair legs screeching. Across the tile, my chest heaved, every breath jagged. You just taught me something, I muttered. She glanced up. And what's that? That silence isn't just in the bank. It's here too. And I'm done choking on it. I turned for the door, my fists trembling. Her voice followed, clipped and nervous. I hope you won't regret saying that. Didn't look back. My throat ached, but my resolve solidified like stone. If my pain can't fit in their reports, then I'll write it in my own voice. The hallway swallowed me whole, but inside me a flame sparked. Careful, one voice hissed behind me in the lunch line. Don't hand her your tray, she might think it's racism. Laughter burst like glass shattering. My chest tightened. I turned slowly, the heat rising in my throat. You think, that's funny? I snapped. A boy with a smirk leaned back in his chair. Relax, it's a joke. A joke? My voice trembled. So my paycheck getting ripped is comedy now? He shrugged, chewing loud on his sandwich. Depends who's watching. You made it sound dramatic. The table chuckled. Another girl muttered. She's always looking for trouble. I clenched my fists, nails biting into my palms. Trouble found me when he tore my dignity in half. The boy raised his eyebrows, mocking. See? Always the victim. Something snapped inside me. My voice rose, cutting through the cafeteria hum. I'm the victim because you laugh instead of stand up, because silence keeps you comfortable while it chokes me. The chatter dimmed. Dozens of eyes turned. One classmate muttered, "Don't shout." I spun toward her. Don't whisper when injustice spits in your face. Don't laugh when someone's dignity is shredded. You laugh because silence protects you. But it won't protect me. The smirking boy clapped slowly, mock applause echoing off the walls. Bravo. You should. Take this to drama club. I stepped closer, my hands shaking. Drama is pretending this doesn't happen every day. Drama is you playing innocent while you mock the pieces of me. Gasps rippled. Someone dropped their fork. A teacher rushed over, voice sharp. Enough! Sit down, all of you. I turned. To him, chest heaving. Enough is what you say when the noise makes you uncomfortable. Where were you when he ripped my check? Where were you when they laughed? The teacher stiffened, eyes flicking nervously toward the silent crowd. This isn't the place, I choked on a bitter laugh. There's never a place, is there? Not the bank, not this cafeteria, not your office. Always the wrong place, always the wrong time, always my fault for daring to speak. Silence stretched. Even the clatter of trays stilled. My voice dropped low, ragged. You want me to shut up because it's easier. But easier for you means suffocating for me. And I won't choke anymore. The teacher's jaw tightened. We'll discuss this later. Sit down now. I didn't move. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might shatter my ribs. Every eye stayed fixed, some wide with fear, others glazed with guilt. Finally, I whispered, loud enough to echo, remember this moment? Remember you chose silence? I grabbed my untouched tray and walked out, legs trembling but unbroken. Behind me, the cafeteria buzzed back to life, but the laughter was gone. Why are your eyes swollen? Mother's voice carried from the hallway as I dropped my bag by the door. I froze, throat dry. Nothing. Just tired. She stepped closer, her gaze sharp. Don't lie to me. My chest cracked open. The words tumbled out before I could hold them. He ripped my paycheck. Her brow furrowed. Who? The bank manager. He tore it. Right there in front of everyone. Called me nothing. Said you people never learn. The silence that followed cut deeper than his words. He ripped. It? She whispered, almost choking. Tears burst free, hot and humiliating. It was my first paycheck, Mom. He ripped my future in half like it was trash. Her hands shook against her sides. And people watched? They watched. My voice cracked. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They laughed. They whispered. I picked up the pieces while they all looked away. She shut her eyes tight, breathing jagged. You told your father? I did. He told me to stay quiet. Said silence keeps us alive. Her fists clenched. Alive? At what cost? I collapsed into the chair, sobs rattling through me. I can't keep swallowing this. I can't keep being told I'm too loud, too angry, too sensitive. I'm choking, Mom. Her steps slowed. She crouched in front of me, gripping my trembling hands. Listen to me. You will not choke. You will not drown in their silence. I lifted my tear-streaked face. Broken. Then what? What can I do? He ripped my dignity, and everyone let him. Her eyes flickered, something heavy stirring inside them. She drew in a long breath, then whispered words that froze me. You won't fight this alone? I blinked. What do you mean? Her jaw tightened, voice steady as steel. As of last week, I'm the new CEO of that bank. My heart lurched. What? She nodded once. Board announced it on Monday. They wanted to wait before it went public. That man works under me. The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the chair, dizzy. You're his boss? I'm his boss. And he doesn't know it yet. A flood of emotions ripped through me. Shock, relief, anger, disbelief. My voice shook. So you can fire him? Her lips pressed thin. It's not just about firing him. It's about showing you and everyone that your worth cannot be torn apart by his hands. I gasped, barely breathing. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I was waiting, she murmured. Waiting for the right moment. Now I see the moment has chosen us. I clutched her hands tighter, tears dripping onto her knuckles. You mean I don't have to keep fighting alone? Her voice deepened, calm but fierce. Never alone. You're my daughter, and tomorrow he will see exactly who you are. The fire in her eyes pulled me upright. For the first time since the check ripped, I felt air in my lungs again. I whispered through the trembling, Then take me with you. She nodded, her grip unyielding. Tomorrow. We walk into that bank together. The silence that followed wasn't suffocating anymore. It was sharpening, like the stillness before a storm. The glass doors slid open, and the air of that bank hit me like smoke from a fire. I swore I'd never breathe again. My palms trembled, but Mother's hand pressed lightly against my back. Stay tall, she murmured. Let him see you. The manager spotted us immediately. His smirk faltered, then returned in a nervous twitch. You again? His eyes flicked to Mother. Can I help? Mother cut him off with a voice that sliced clean. You can start by apologizing. His face flushed. Apologize? For what? I stepped forward, heart pounding. For tearing up my paycheck, for calling me nothing, for humiliating me while everyone stared. He blinked, laughter forced. That's exaggerated. His eyes darted around the lobby as customers looked up from their papers. I was just following policy. Policy? My voice shook but grew stronger with each word. Show me the page where it says rip up a black girl's dignity in front of strangers. Gasps rippled through the line. A woman whispered, That's her. He shifted uncomfortably, tugging at his collar. Look, miss, I didn't mean... You meant enough. Mother's tone was sharp, steady, and terrifyingly calm. She stepped closer, her presence commanding silence. You saw her skin before her worth. You chose to tear her down in public. Now you'll answer in public. His mouth opened, closed, stammering. Ma'am, I didn't know. You knew exactly what you were doing, she interrupted, eyes unblinking. The only thing you didn't know is who I am. He froze. And who are you? The lobby fell silent. Even the machines behind the counters seemed to hold their breath. Mother let the words fall like stone. "I am your new CEO." The room erupted in whispers, shocked voices hissing through the air like sparks. "CEO? She's the boss?" My chest swelled, a flicker of fire rising where shame had lived. The manager's face drained of color. This must be a mistake." "The mistake," Mother cut him off again, her voice iron, "was thinking you could rip apart a young black girl's future and walk away untouched." My throat tightened, tears threatening, but I steadied myself. "You thought I'd stay silent like the crowd did, but I'm not silent anymore." He fumbled for words. "Please, it was just a misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" My voice cracked, sharp with rage. "You looked me in the eye and told me I was nothing. You knew exactly what you meant." A man in line muttered, "She's right." Another voice echoed, "I saw it." The tide shifted. Whispers weren't complicit this time. They were witnesses. Mother's gaze locked on him. "Your career here is finished. You'll answer to the board and to every person who watched you rip apart what wasn't yours to touch." He collapsed back against the counter, sweat glistening on his brow. "Please, I didn't know she was your—" "She is not valuable." "Because she's mine," Mother snapped. "She is valuable because she is human." The crowd murmured in agreement, heads nodding, eyes burning holes into him. I stepped forward, my hands no longer trembling. "You tried to tear me down with—" Silence around us. "But today, the silence belongs to you." The manager's lips trembled. His voice barely rose. I'm sorry." The words hung limp, hollow. They didn't heal the wound, but they cracked his mask. I turned away before my tears could fall. The ruined check in my pocket felt lighter, no longer a chain, but a symbol. Mother rested a steady hand on my shoulder. "Come, we're done here." As we walked out, I heard it. The sound of customers clapping softly, murmurs of "about time." She stood tall. The silence that once suffocated me now wrapped itself around him. For the first time, I breathed without choking. The boardroom lights felt too bright, like they were exposing every crack in me. My hands trembled under the polished oak table until Mother's steady glance anchored me. The manager cleared his throat, words spilling too fast. "Look, it was a misunderstanding. I didn't intend harm. Things got misinterpreted." Mother's voice cut through like steel. "The misunderstanding is thinking dignity is negotiable." Gasps rippled softly around the table. I swallowed, my throat raw. "You didn't misinterpret me when you smirked and tore my paycheck. You didn't misinterpret me when you muttered you people never learn." His face reddened. "I was under pressure. Long lines, frustration." "You weren't under pressure." My voice rose, trembling with fury. "You were comfortable. Comfortable enough to humiliate me while everyone watched." One of the younger board members shifted, whispering, "She's right." The manager's eyes darted, sweat pooling at his temples. "I regret how it looked." "How it looked?" I snapped. "It didn't just look like you ripped paper. You ripped me. You made me small in front of strangers, and they let you." The silence pressed in until Mother broke it again, calm and deliberate. "This board is not here to debate perception. It is here to decide whether this institution will tolerate racism disguised as policy." His voice cracked. I've given years to this bank. One mistake—" "One?" I whispered, leaning forward. "Or one you finally got caught making?" The words dropped like stone. Several members shifted uncomfortably, but no one contradicted. "Me!" He glanced desperately around the table. "Surely we can be reasonable." Mother leaned forward, eyes burning. "Reasonable is what you expected when you called her nothing. Reasonable silence, reasonable complicity. That era ends today." My breath shook as I spoke the line I'd carried in my chest since that day. "You never saw me as human, the E." Room stilled. No whisper, no shuffle. Only silence, different now. Heavy with shame, a younger woman at the table murmured, "That's the truth." A man beside her nodded slowly. The manager's lips quivered. "I didn't mean—" "You meant every word," I cut in, voice steady now. "That's why it burned. Because it came from truth. Not mine, but yours." Mother turned to the board. "You've heard it. You've seen it. Decide if his voice still represents this institution." Hands raised slowly, one after another. Majority. The manager's shoulders collapsed, his voice barely a whisper. "Please don't end me like this." Mother's reply was quiet, sharp as a blade. "You ended yourself the moment you tore her dignity in half." A murmur of agreement moved around the table. A smattering of applause rose from the younger. Staff clustered near the back, soft at first, then steady. My chest trembled, tears burning my eyes. Not tears of shame this time, something heavier, something freer. The manager lowered his head, silent. I whispered to myself, steady and clear, "Silence finally belongs to him." He caught me in the hallway, his footsteps shuffling like they carried chains. "Wait," he muttered, voice low, almost pleading. "Just a word." I stopped, not for him, but for myself. I wanted to hear what excuse he would choke on. My fists clenched at my sides. He cleared his throat, eyes darting anywhere. But mine. "I didn't mean for it to happen like that." I stared at him, my chest heavy. "You didn't mean to rip my paycheck? Or you didn't mean to get caught?" His lips twitched. I was frustrated. Long day, angry customers, stress. I cut him off. "Stress doesn't make you racist. Stress doesn't make you mutter you people never learn." That wasn't stress. That was truth. He flinched, shoulders curling. I'm not that kind of man." My voice steadied, though my hands trembled. "You are exactly that kind of man. And the silence after you tore my check told me you've done it before, maybe not the same way, but in smaller cuts, smaller humiliations, easy enough for people to ignore." His mouth opened, then closed again. His silence stretched. I stepped closer, my voice dropping to a whisper. "You thought you could humiliate me into silence, but now silence belongs to you." He swallowed hard, words tumbling weakly. Look, I'm sorry. I didn't think it through." My laugh was hollow. "You thought it through enough to smirk, enough to look me in the eye and remind me that in your world, I'm less. Don't stand here pretending it slipped out." He pressed his hands together, desperate. "Please, don't let this ruin me. My job, my reputation." "Ruin you." My chest burned, anger breaking into icy calm. "You ruined me in front of strangers, tore apart what little I had. You didn't think twice about my survival, and now you want me to worry about yours?" His gaze dropped to the floor. His shoulders sagged. "I was wrong." "You were cruel," I corrected, voice firm. "Wrong is tripping on a step. Cruel is ripping someone's future in half and laughing while they bleed." He pressed his lips tight, unable to meet my eyes. I leaned in, my words sharp as glass. "You meant every word. That's why it cut so deep." The silence that followed was final. He had nothing left. I straightened, my heart racing, but lighter than it had been since that day. "Keep your apology. It doesn't belong to me." I turned to leave, my steps steady. Behind me, I heard nothing. No protest, no excuse, no plea. Only the collapse of a man swallowed by his own silence. For once, the silence wasn't mine to carry. The night air was cool against my face as Mother and I walked side by side, the city lights glowing like watchful eyes. My steps felt lighter than they had in weeks, though my chest still carried the ache of everything that had been said and done. She broke the silence first. "You carried silence too long?" I exhaled, my voice raw but steady. "I thought if I stayed quiet it would protect me, but it only protected him." Her hand brushed mine gently. "Silence can be a shield, yes, but it can also be a cage. You chose to break free." I looked at her, tears stinging. "And you, how did you do it? How did you swallow it all these years and still survive?" She paused, her eyes reflecting the streetlight. "I learned to carry silence because I thought it was the only way forward. But tonight, I realized you were right. My silence kept me alive, but it didn't keep me whole." The words cracked something open inside me. "Then, I don't want to live half a life. I don't want to breathe in cages." Her smile was soft, tired, but fierce. "Then don't. Speak louder than I ever could. Let your voice shake the ground where mine stayed still." I stopped walking, my throat tightening. "Mom, when he ripped that check, it felt like he ripped my future. And when everyone stayed silent, I thought maybe they were right, that I was nothing." She turned to me, gripping my shoulders. "You are not nothing. You are the storm that forced silence into retreat. Don't ever forget that." My voice cracked. "Then promise me you'll never ask me to be quiet again." She pulled me into her arms. "I promise. No more cages. Not for you." The night buzzed around us, distant horns, murmurs of strangers, but for once, the noise didn't drown me. It lifted me. I whispered into her shoulder, "Their comfort ends where my dignity begins." She pulled back, eyes glistening. "And tonight?" I swallowed hard, a tear sliding free, but I smiled. "Tonight, my dignity won." We walked on, step by step, the silence between us no longer heavy but healing. For the first time, I felt whole.